Welcome to Emerging Franchise Brands, the podcast that introduces you to the visionary founders of America's fastest growing franchise opportunities. We'll also hear from industry pros as they share what it really takes to achieve the elusive milestone of 100 plus locations. I am your host, Frank Fiume, founder of I9 Sports, and my 20-year journey from inception to acquisition has given me a unique perspective on how to succeed in franchising. Join me as we welcome today's guest. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. On today's show, we're going to start by doing something new. I have a guest co-host, Drew Alfano, on the show. Drew, how's it going, man?
Good. Thank you so much for having me, Frank.
I think we're going to have a great time. So you are the first co-host of the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. It's an honor to have you on. We're going to have a blast. We got a great guest here today. We got Russell Clark from American Kolache. And so before we get started and bring Russell on, why don't you share with the audience a little bit about your background here in franchising?
Sure. So I'm Director of Business Development with Retro Fitness. I've been in franchising for about 6 years, certified franchise executive with the IFA, and I run a young professionals networking group called Fire 35. So just really passionate about franchising, and I'm just excited to co-host with you today. So thanks for having me on. And Russell, great to meet you.
Before we bring on our guest, I want to share what we're going to learn today. One, we're going to learn what is kolache and what makes it so unique. We're also going to learn how Russell went from being a pizza franchisee to franchisor. And finally, why should someone bet on American Kolache now? Yeah. Hey, Russell, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, let's start out by, first of all, Russell, explain to us what is American Kolache. It's a really unique name.
It is a little bit about a kolache first for anybody that don't know, which is a ton of people still. Kolache is basically, they're about the size of a dinner roll. Dough is slightly sweet, and we stuff them with all kinds of deliciousness. Everything from sausage and gravy to bacon, egg, and cheese, apple pie, raspberry cream cheese. We do a whole lunch side of Philly cheesesteak, meatball, a jalapeno popper, sloppy joe. We get crazy with it with crab rangoon, buffalo chicken. So we make almost 35 different kolaches every day, all by hand.
Holy cow. Are these pop-ups? Are they fixed units? What does American Kolache place look like?
We have brick and mortar stores. They're about 12 to 1,500 square feet, usually little, in strip centers or, a little freestanding building. But, we've got cinnamon rolls, fresh coffee. We're open from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. daily. We do a ton of catering. We're basically hitting people on the way to work. You can stop and get a couple sausage and gravy and a cup of joe to go, and eating biscuits and gravy in the car on the way to work.
Does it get any better than that?
It can't. Absolutely.
How did you guys get started?
Oh man, we really fell backwards into the kolache business. My business partner and I, we met back in 1994 working at Morton's Steakhouse. Used to be one in St. Louis when, back in the old days when you could take the cigar humidor to the table and actually smoke a cigar in a restaurant and have a cognac and those were the good old days of Frank Sinatra playing so we spent 10 years working at Morton's together, and we always had a dream of opening a steakhouse. But two broke waiters couldn't get anybody to loan them $1 million back then to open a steakhouse. So one of the guys who always came into Morton's was a regular in there. He owned a local pizza franchise, and he's like, why don't you guys start on the smaller side first? And that's how we opened our first pizza franchise back in 2001, and we were in the pizza franchise business for about 13 years, and the kolache thing kind of came out of nowhere, and it was really a telltale sign when I was sitting there watching the Today Show. I had twin girls who I was a stay-at-home dad during the day, and I'd go work at the pizza place at night. My wife was a nurse. She'd work during the day, and I'm sitting there watching the Today Show, and they had the top 13 food trends of then 2015. And Bon Appetit magazine was on, and they're like, kolaches, we're standing in line for it. I'm like, what the hell's a kolache? I had no idea. I thought it was chocolate or something. And there was only one in town here. So I started looking at it, and I was like, man, if somebody could come along with an imagination, there's only one of them in town. I'm like, that's a golden opportunity for a couple of little restaurant guys to come in and breathe life into something. And that's what we did. So we opened our first kolache place back in 2015, and it was so good. We opened the second one 7 months later and sold the pizza businesses. It's a lot easier business than the pizza business, let me tell you.
Obviously less competition. Drew, have you heard anything about this before?
No, and they look delicious. I have to say that. So they're definitely on my bucket list to try one. And I was reading online, it says it's Czech, Texas. Is that right? That's where they're popular?
That's kind of where they started. It's a traditional Czech pastry, but they put cottage cheese on top of it and prune and stuff that's not real marketable. But early in the 1900s, they landed in Houston, Texas. And of course, everything in Texas got to be bigger and better, right? So they started putting breakfast sausage in them. It's really just a semi-sweet dough, but it's so delicious, and it's so soft. So when you cram it full of bacon, egg, and cheese and Philly cheesesteak, it's really the perfect vehicle, for anything delicious.
Wow.
Yeah.
Russell, what did friends and family say when you said you were leaving the pizza business? This is what you're going to do. What'd they think of this?
Well, being in the pizza business for a long time, the restaurant business is so hard in general.
Right.
But my wife's like, really? I think we opened our kolache place 2 weeks before my little guy was born. Yeah. So having a couple of pizza joints with twin girls and then a newborn, but we had the support and it was so good. And we got such good hype. We had a lot of good restaurant connections in St. Louis to begin with. So we got a lot of publicity right off the bat. And, it's just good stuff.
Yeah. Did you guys hit the ground running right away? Or was there kind of a struggle starting out?
No. We hit the ground really right away. We had big magazines that came in, big St. Louis magazines that came in, did full page articles on us, and the local news is real supportive. I don't know if you guys know or not, but St. Louis is like the mecca of dining. So I think we rated in the top 13 of food cities in the entire world. So
Really?
We've got a lot of James Beard Award winning chefs here, a lot of great Italian food on the hill. This place is happening. If you guys ever want to dive into the culinary areas of the country, St. Louis has got it going on.
All right. So Russell, tell me about franchising. When does franchising come into play?
Really about after our second location. After our second location was really hopping, we felt there just is not a whole lot of people doing kolaches in the country. Texas is basically the mecca of kolache. Down there's one just about on every corner down in the Houston area, Austin area. So, but we felt like it was so good, so tasty. It's like let's try to deliver it to the rest of the country. So,
and did you guys have a franchise background other than obviously you owned a pizza franchise?
Well, we were in a franchise for 15 years, and looking back at it now, it was a good lesson on things not to do because it wasn't the most well-run franchise. So when we really sat down to write the nuts and bolts of the franchise of the FDD, with us being franchisees for 15 years, kind of gave us a perspective of how to treat a franchise. So many franchises out there now, just like the pizza place we were in, they want to nickel and dime you to death on just about everything. And the franchisees can't make any money. For, my business partner, Bart, and I, we had when we were just waiters, we were scraping up every dime to open the pizza place, and you're putting your house on the line for collateral. He had 2 little kids when we first started, that were 3 and 4. So for them to take a big chance, not only in a partnership, but in a pizza place, and you got to put your house on the line when you've got a family. So it kind of gave us a perspective of how what a franchisee is going through, what's going through their mind, the fears, the hopes, the dreams of scraping together the money for your first store. We understood it because we did it. I think we opened our first pizza franchise on like $109,000 between the two of us. It was all used equipment, and we did a lot of the work ourselves. And a lot of these people are I always say we're more on the entry level side of franchises. Buying a McDonald's for $1.5 million or $2 million, those people don't have the same fears as somebody scraping together a couple 100,000 to open their first store. So there's a lot of sleepless nights in anticipation when you're opening a new business, especially for people who are scraping the couple $100,000 by to open one of our places.
Russell, knowing what you know from being a franchisee, being in those shoes, and now being in your role, what are some of the things that you look for in a potential franchisee?
A lot of the people that come through our system and call on franchises are people that are wanting to leave the hustle and bustle of corporate life. They just had enough of being abused for 10, 15, 20 years and just being a number in a big corporation. There's really nothing like having a place of your own, a key to unlock your own lock of the door. So those are the things you just look for, people who are really hardworking, that have the drive to do it.
Sure. And, one of the challenges too, I find with any of the founders I talk to and the different concepts, of course, Drew, I know this is part of your wheelhouse, right? In FranDev, where we more times than not are dealing with people who are buying a franchise and this is their first entry into any business. And sometimes I think I made this false assumption when I founded my company, I brought franchisees in, I focused too much on the operations of here's what you need to do to operate the business and not enough on the actual business coaching. And I made assumptions that would just, kind of way over the head of some people that, they weren't there yet. And Russell, have you found that sometimes with yourself with franchisees that you kind of have to step back and say, okay, wait a minute here. There's some basic things I need to cover and help my franchisees grow a business, not just the operations of opening up a kolache restaurant.
Yeah. Being a business owner is a hands-on deal 7 days a week. So it's not, like I said, unless you have the couple $1 million to plop down on a McDonald's where you're going to have a big support group around you. Being your own boss is the thrills and spills 7 days a week. So, but yeah, you just look for people who have that drive,
Well, we got to hear from our guy in FranDev here, Drew. How do you figure out whether the person has the right drive for a brand?
Sure. I mean, it's definitely important. They say there's a difference between a business and a hobby. One makes money. And obviously you want passion from your franchisees and you want people that are hungry, and especially you want people that want to be good partners, right? Because it is a partnership at the end of the day, and franchise agreements, 10 years long, and it's a true partnership. And like you said, a lot of people put things on the line and they make that risk and they choose you. So, you want to find that balance, make sure that you're a good partner to them, that they're a good fit for you. So culture is obviously really important. Well, not obviously. Culture is really important. And a lot of people sometimes overlook that, but culture is a big piece, and making sure that you can be a good partner, because sometimes people might be handicapped in certain areas. They need certain help, or they might be great in a specific area. So just making sure that you have tools and support to help them round out where they need help and support is really important. So we'd love to know about some of the support and things that you provide to your franchisees.
Yeah. Customer support is obviously, like I said, you're building a relationship for a long time with people, and hopefully they're going to step into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stores. And that's what we always hope is to have people who want to grow. And especially in this business, you want to find people who are really personable, outgoing, because, it's important for your owners of your stores to build relationships in their community, so the people are always going to be better in the customer service oriented business. There's a lot of franchises, that you can get into, or, you hire your customer service people, especially in the service sector now. But being in the restaurant, customer service is always spot on. I mean, like I said, bad customer service will always ruin great food. That's one of the first lines I tell my potential people is, if you've got to get out and be in your community, get involved in your community, your territory, and build those relationships.
Yeah.
People do business with people they like. And, for the owner of that store to be out at the counter and just saying, "Hey, good morning, Bill or Tom or Susie, how the kids," and learning your community, those are the type of people who are going to really succeed.
Sure. Russell, how many franchises do you guys have?
We are under construction with our 15th location, through 7 states. So,
Wow.
we've kind of grown on the slower side. I don't want to be, one of these people who are just in it for the short term to sell 30, 50 franchises in a year and then sell out to a private equity firm. We're trying to build a company, and, it takes time. You can't rush it. You want to make sure the stores are successful and then the people are doing them right. I want to make sure we have time to give the assistance to the new people.
What would you say is one of the key elements for a franchisee to be super successful in your brand? It could be, I've seen brands that are that are in the food services that look for different elements of a franchisee. What do you guys look for in particular?
Well, number one, you got, just like I told you before, having people who are good with customer service, having outgoing people who want to get out in the community and build their brand. You want to have people that want to open 3 to 5 stores. And I begin every franchise call with the first thing I tell them is the bakery business is a lifestyle. As I was telling your co-host there, we're open from 6 a.m. to 2, but we start baking at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So your first 3-4 months in owning a store, you're going to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and going to work. Just like the old Dunkin' Donut commercials where the guy was going out of the house saying time to make the donuts. We open at 6, but 1,000 kolaches don't magically appear on the shelves at 6. We make everything in store fresh every morning.
Wow.
So
one of the most popular questions I get, Russell, from new founders especially, is I'm struggling to try to find franchisees. Where did you find your first half dozen franchise owners?
Man, everything really, there's been a few that have come through restaurant brokers, through franchise brokers, through a couple of the systems there, but mainly organic. I mean, I've got an e-store going in Peoria, Illinois, and was just there yesterday. And she is a nurse, and she was a travel nurse here working at the St. Louis hospital. And, we go to the hospital 7-8 times a week, through giving breakfast to doctors and nurses and stuff like that. So she fell in love with it and saw we franchised and is like, man, Peoria would be great for this. So, most of it's been all organic.
That's fantastic. Life as a founder is not easy. We put our heart and soul into the business. We want to make sure that first and foremost, we take care of our franchise owners and we have to take care of our own staff. Russell, I'd love for you to give me some feedback on what you go through. Like what's something you internally struggle with as a founder today now with, going to be opening your 15th location?
Well, you just got to be available. We're not just sign on the dotted line and you're never going to talk to Russ again. So,
Right.
Everybody's got my cell phone and, if they want to call me at 10 o'clock at night, call me 10 o'clock at night and, work through a problem or bitch about something. If you have a big order and you need me to come in and help you with it, I can do that too. So, you're here to support your people, and really do the best you can, but you got to be available.
Yeah. How has your role changed from the very beginning to now where you are over a dozen franchises?
Oh, well, right now I spend most of my time behind the computer. Used to be, I was at the stores just about every day, sometimes multiple times a day. Now, most of my time is waking up in the morning and either talking to architects or construction people or lawyers or, in franchise sales. And then we've got a whole nother sector, that we're getting into the retail, into the frozen retail aspect. So we're going to be moving into the St. Louis airport at the Southwest terminal. And we just signed a catering contract to cater for Optimum Catering, which caters for the airlines. So here in a few months, you may be on American Airlines and look down and you've got American Kolache on the airline. So
Perfect.
we've got a lot of things going on.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
What since you started franchising, what is it, Russell? Now it's we're going 6 years now.
Yeah.
What's been one of the biggest surprises that has surprised you in franchising?
Well, we had a lot of things that were going to happen, and then COVID hit and kind of shut it down for a couple of years. So right before COVID hit, we were up in New Jersey with a husband and wife. And they had spent money on architectural plans, and had met with the contractor, and then the whole COVID thing hit, and the franchisee wanted a clause in the lease about COVID if something happened, and they were like, oh, it's not going to be a big thing, that this we're not going to do something like that, so they put it on hold, and thank God they did, because all of the Northeast is pretty much shut down, but it's just, some of the surprises that come out. But so in the 6 years, I think we've gotten better on every store we've done. You do a couple and then you're like, okay, I'm going to improve this aspect of it on construction, or I'm going to do this different. But, you just, you learn every time you do something.
Yeah. You got to roll with the punches, right, Drew?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when you're growing. What are some of your plans for growth? Regional? Are you looking to expand to more states?
We're trying to focus on the Midwest. I'd like to be able to, right now, to be able to hop in the car and drive somewhere in 4 or 5 hours, 7 hours, and get somewhere if I'm needed in an emergency. We just opened. Our last store was in Topeka, Kansas. The next store is going to be in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then right outside of DC in Ashburn, Virginia. And then we got Peoria, and then Louisville, Kentucky. So it's keeping us busy. I'd like to be able to do, 5 to 8 a year. Is a good model for us right now.
Nice. Russell, you are a founder's founder, man. You have rolled up your sleeves and you're doing it all.
We have to. You have to. Some days you got to put a Band-Aid on it to get through the day, right?
Put a little dirt on it and get back out on the field.
Some days it's a tourniquet. Yeah.
That's great. Drew, what do you got?
Russell, tell me about the menu, because I love the simplicity of a core product. So tell me how you keep the menu exciting and dynamic while still keeping it operationally simple.
Well, as I like to say, we take American classic comfort food and stuff it in a bun. So, all your classic favorites. I mean, our sausage and gravy is our number one seller. I mean, we sold 500,000 of those just in St. Louis last year. So,
wow, holy cow.
It's a huge seller. Then we have our signature breakfast called America. That's got sausage and gravy. It's got scrambled eggs, hash browns, and bacon. It's like the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity shoved in a bun.
Russell, that's as American as it gets.
Yes. Yeah, it's a classic. But we do, we do a full lunch size. We do collaborations with some sandwich places in town. Have worked with a bunch of James Beard Award winning chefs in St. Louis. We collaborate with Pappy's Smokehouse, which Pappy's got voted best ribs in America by Food Network. So we use their brisket and pulled pork. So I mean, we use high quality ingredients. There's a company on the hill, which is the Italian part of St. Louis, called Gioia's Salami. They are the only restaurant in St. Louis to win the James Beard Award a couple years ago. They've been in business. They opened in the Spanish flu.
Wow.
Yes, back in I think they turned 104 this year. And they make salami out of pig snout. And it is absolutely delicious. And there's about a line out the door every day to go to eat a Gioia sandwich. But we do a lot of fun collaborations, and whatever your mind can concoct that would be good on a pizza or in a sandwich, we just stuff it in a kolache. Like, our crab rangoon is one of our biggest hits of the year. So we do that during Lent. So, and people just wait till the crab rangoon comes out. We do, all kinds of, fun stuff for, St. Pat's Day. We do the corned beef and cabbage. For Christmas, we do, the turkey and dressing and gravy. So, we have seasonal favorites as well. So it's, whatever your mind can concoct to put in a sandwich or a pizza, it's good. They have to tell me to slow down sometimes because I'll be like, hey, how about this? I'm like, dude, we can only make so many kolaches a day. We only have room on the shelf. So then we have to take something off the shelf, and then somebody's mad that we took their favorite off. So.
Well, Russell, I've been to St. Louis. I've been to Pappy's Smokehouse. Speaking of line out the door, I experienced it. Went to it before a Cardinals game. It was unbelievable. I can't imagine taking a Pappy's Smokehouse kolache off the menu. Is that a permanent fixture?
The brisket is phenomenal. It is. It's been a permanent fixture for 6-7 years now. Yeah, we're turning 10 in October, so maybe we've had it longer than that. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I might have to come to St. Louis again just for that.
Time flies. Well, yeah, absolutely. And like I said, there's no lack of great eats in St. Louis.
Yeah, for sure. Russell, how much does it cost to buy a franchise? What's the investment range?
Oh, it's a $39,000 franchise fee. Royalties are 6%, and we go in small spaces, and it's really a small package. You can usually go into a strip center with franchise fee and everything for, probably less than $300K.
Really? So, again, how big is the footprint?
Anywhere from we've got our smallest store, which is our busiest store, is about 700 square feet, and they go all the way up to 1,1500 square feet.
So you're kind of just moving people out. This is really mostly to go. You have a couple of tables and chairs just for a little bit of seating. But
on the weekends or at lunch, you might have a couple of people sitting at the tables. But mainly people are in and out in 2 or 3 minutes. They walk in and you've got this 12-foot long bakery rack with 35 different kolaches on them, and people picking up dozens. I always say sit in our lobby for an hour, and you'll see everybody from high school kids coming in to sports figures to construction workers to cops. I mean, we're just comfort food. Everybody loves comfort food.
Russell, I know you mentioned catering. Talk about some of the different verticals that you have for the business model. Is it catering? Do you do delivery, takeout?
We do. We mainly do takeout, but we're on DoorDash. And then we're on another system called Easy Cater. But we do a ton of catering. I mean, we've catered from everybody. We catered the PGA Championship when it was here. We catered for the Blues, the Cardinals, the Predators, the Avalanche. We fed Benson Boone when he was in town at the radio station. There's a great clip of Benson Boone on YouTube eating kolaches at Y98, and he takes the first bite and turns around. He's like, "Oh my God!" So I mean, they're that good. So we do a ton of office catering. When you roll in with 2 or 3 dozen kolaches and coffee and cinnamon rolls, there's really no going back to bagels and cream cheese.
Is that the slogan? That should be the new slogan for American Kolache.
Well, our slogan is "We make breakfast better." I mean, that's pretty much what it is.
It's an understatement for sure.
Yes.
This is a loaded question, Russell, but why should somebody bet on you now? Why should a franchisee join the system?
You've got no competition. Nobody does what we do. That there's tons of pizza franchises and ice cream franchises and hamburger franchises, but you're in a lane wide open. When somebody approaches from a company that franchises, he's like, I've been looking at your stuff, and he's like, you are in a lane of your own. I'm like, yeah, we really are. So.
Yeah. Drew, how amazing is that from a fran dev standpoint, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think people love white space, and getting into an emerging brand, being able to have territory, close access to the founder, have somewhat of a part in what gets created in the creative process of growth and development and ideas. People who get in early for a concept like this just have a really nice size of the prize.
Oh, yeah. And you're only going to have the runway for so long, Russell. I don't know how long that's going to last, but.
There's other kolache places out there. I mean, we're not the only one. There's we're the fastest growing ones. I think we're on the cutting edge. We've got a really cool looking restaurant with custom wallpaper and with chandeliers that were designed just for us. So, it's a really great looking space. It's a small space. It's really on the lower end of finance. When you get in talking about getting into a franchise for $300K. I mean, that's pretty. You've got a staff of 8 people. The hours, The hours are great. And like I said, for somebody who is really enthusiastic and wants to get out there and do the groundwork, walking into companies with a little sampler box saying, hey, we just opened the American Kolache down the street. We'd love to have your business. You're not even back in the shop yet. And after they taste your product and you're catering the business meeting tomorrow for 35, 40 people,
amazing,
all day long.
Yeah. Russell, to this date, it's been kind of slow and steady for you guys, been very focused, controlled growth, but where do you see the brand growing? Let's go 10 years out. Where do you think you're going to be?
Oh man, 10 years out, we may be everywhere. We went to the Walmart open call in Kansas City a couple of months ago and got one of the 3 passes to go to the big meeting in October. And they were just blown away. So I think we had the deal out in the lobby while I was waiting. One of the guys came over and looked at our stuff and looked at our packaging and everything. It was like, wow. And he went over and got somebody else. They went over and got somebody else. And when we went in there, they were pretty excited. So you may see us in Walmart in 2026 too. So we, between the airlines, the airports, Walmart, other supermarkets that are probably going to come out of the woodwork, plus expansion through the Midwest and in 7 states and growing. We just maybe a household name in 10 years. I hope.
That would be awesome. All right, Russell, a little bit more about you, the founder. Give us something here. What's something about you that most people don't even know about you?
I'm a business junkie. I just like the world of business. As I was telling your co-host before, I love the restaurant business. I'm from St. Louis, briefly moved to Florida for 6 years back when I was 8. We owned a little seafood shack down there, a restaurant down on the Intercoastal. So I've been in the customer service aspect of it, since early as a kid. And it's just hospitality is just in my blood. I mean, I've opened Marriott hotels, worked for Morton's of Chicago, worked at fine dining restaurants in St. Louis, and I just love it. I can go to the restaurant store and spend all day, just like my wife can go to the shoe department and spend all day looking at shoes. It's just in my blood.
Does she get tired of hearing about your love for business?
No, because that keeps her in shoes. Yeah. So, but no, it's I just I've got three young kids. My twin girls who are 13. And my little guy who is going to be 10. And I emphasize to them, all their friends are talking about what they're going to do when they go to college, what they want to be when they grow up. And I was like, you guys have to own your own business. Whatever you want to do, find your passion and work for yourself, because there's nothing like working for yourself.
Yeah. It's great advice. It's not for everybody, but as great advice. I believe it. Not everybody comes from an entrepreneurial background, doesn't get that same support. I don't know. But Drew, how about you? Like growing up, did you come from an entrepreneurial background?
Yes and no. I think I definitely grew up in the business world and the franchise world, and my family was involved in franchising. So definitely love the business model of franchising and what it can do for people and families and, create nice wealth situations. So I think there's both sides, and obviously it's not everybody, but for the people that it is for, there's a great path to success.
See, Russell, this is what's different about Drew. He actually comes from a family with some franchising background. You don't come across that every day. No, maybe in the generation that's coming, but yeah. But the old school was start it yourself and build it. So yeah, no, it's changed. I mean, little props to Drew while you're on the call here, man. Him and Riley started Fire 35, and it's really to get this new generation in franchising for them to collaborate and get together, because there's really been a disconnect. There's been a changing of the guard a while ago in franchising, but with this new organization they started, it really is to be collaborative and get this new generation in franchising involved. And let's face it, Russell, we're not going to do this forever.
Let's hope not.
I don't know. It sounds like you might be trying to do this forever.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Might be something that gets handed down.
All right. Sounds great. Drew, any parting words for Russell before we wrap this up?
I'm definitely very hungry, Russell. So I'm excited.
We'll come to St. Louis.
Me too.
Yeah, it's definitely on my list. I'm going to be out there very soon. I'll let you know when I am, and I'll get some kolache.
I'll take you for a tour of St. Louis.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to mess around. I'm going right to the Pappy Smokehouse kolache. I know what I'm getting. You can't be beat, I bet.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, Russ, I got one last question for you. Obviously, if someone was interested in learning more about American Kolache, where would they go?
Go to AmericanKolache.com. That's got everything you need. You can look at franchise information. My contact number is on there. You can see a menu, see the pictures of the deliciousness. You can see us on Instagram, Facebook, on TikTok. So yeah, come check it out. It's a great opportunity. Like I said, it's a small, manageable footprint. It's really affordable. You're going to get people who are honest to deal with. So it isn't going to be nickel and dime you to take everything out of your pocket for us. It's got to be worth it to do it right.
Absolutely. Russell, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. Drew, thanks, man, for being my first co-host. This was awesome. I enjoyed talking with you guys.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right. See you.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.